Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
A report names 3 Caribbean territories as the world's top corrosive tax havens. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Wednesday, May 29th. From the CMC News Centre in Bridgetown, I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. 3 British overseas territories in the Caribbean have been named the most corrosive corporate tax havens in the world. The Tax Justice Network, an independent group launched in 2003, places the British Virgin Islands, Bermuda and the Cayman Islands at the top of its corporate tax haven index. The Bahamas is ranked 9th. The International Campaign Group's study scored each country's tax system based on the degree to which it enables corporate tax avoidance and then combined that tax haven score with the scale of corporate activity in the country. It claims that the UK government has effectively outsourced the corporate tax haven game to a spider's web of its overseas territories and crown dependencies. But a top official in Bermuda has blasted the report. Andy Burrows, Chief Executive Officer of the Bermuda Business Development Agency, says the island has a long-respected record of compliance with global standards. He insists that Bermuda is known as a top-tier international financial center whose businesses make a significant contribution to the countries around the world. And he says it's not a place to hide capital, but to raise capital. The Bermuda government has been granted permission to take its bid to outlaw same-sex marriage to the UK's Privy Council, the island's highest court of appeal. It's the latest twist in a 2-year roller coaster saga that at one stage saw Bermuda become the first country in the world to take away the right of same-sex couples to marry after approving it. After a series of court decisions, gay couples can now get married on the island. According to the Royal Gazette newspaper, a spokeswoman from the Ministry of Home Affairs on Wednesday said the government had received leave to appeal. It quoted LGBTQ charity Out Bermuda, one of the respondents in the appeal, as saying that it expected the government to lose the case, with the Bermuda taxpayers footing a $3 million legal bill. But the Home Affairs spokeswoman said the ministry will not speculate on the cost of taking the case to the Privy Council. CARICOM has joined those paying tribute to Edward Seaga, Jamaica's 5th Prime Minister and longest-serving parliamentarian, who died on Tuesday on his 89th birthday. In a statement, CARICOM Chairman Dr. Timothy Harris said a strong sense of both regionalism and responsibility permeated Seaga's leadership style and politics, resulting in him being widely admired and respected as an influential force within CARICOM. He said Prime Minister Seaga's assumption of the chairmanship of CARICOM in 1982 ushered in a dynamic era characterized by an increased momentum for regional integration that translated into more frequent meetings of heads of government. Prime Minister Harris said, quote, "My colleague heads of government and I always carry Edward Seaga's hopeful message in our hearts as we strive to maintain the standing of our region as a zone of peace and stability, buttressed by respect for human rights and democracy. These are guiding principles from which we shall never depart, and we will long remember the crucial role that Edward Seaga played in establishing them." End quote. Other regional leaders have also extended condolences to the people of Jamaica. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley of Trinidad and Tobago said while Caribbean people are poorer for Seaga's passing, they can take comfort in being richer for his unstinted dedication and service to all of us. Barbados' Prime Minister Mia Mottley said Seaga would be remembered for his clear commitment to building institutions and infrastructure, not just in Jamaica, but across the entire Caribbean. And former Jamaica Prime Minister P.J. Patterson said, Seaga was a leader of strong convictions and purpose, courageous and energetic in her pursuit of a vision dedicated to our upliftment in the eyes of the world. He leaves behind an indelible impact on the political evolution of Jamaica and its social, economic and cultural development. I join in sincere and humble salute as a grateful nation mourns the passing of a formidable political giant. End quote. And in an emotional sitting in the House of Representatives in Jamaica, tributes and tears flowed for the man who led the country for 9 years and the Jamaica Labour Party for 3 decades.
On Tuesday, May 28, 2019, a moment of silence. This parliamentary sitting proved difficult for the man who now holds the seat Mr. Seaga once represented. Member of Parliament for West Kingston, Desmond McKenzie, while holding it together during his sectoral presentation, broke down at the end. An emotional moment, too, for Culture Minister Babsy Grange, who held back tears in her brief tribute.
He taught me to dine with kings and to walk with beggars and to give respect, to receive respect.
But a comforting hug. And even as Prime Minister Andrew Holness, in a brief statement to the House, provided details for what's to come.
Mr. Speaker, it is a personally trying time for me, and I know it is also a very trying time for his family. And though they were prepared, and though I was prepared, at the point of the event, you still can't help but feel the emotional void that has been created by his passing.
The lower house was told that arrangements are being made for Mr. Seaga's body to be flown to Jamaica. Details relating to the state funeral will be provided at a later date. A special sitting of the House will also be held so members can pay tribute to the former Prime Minister. But still, in Tuesday's sitting, memories of the man who served the Parliament for over 40 years. Central Kingston MP Ronald Thwaites spoke on behalf of the opposition.
I had the opportunity to draw somewhat closer to Mr. Seaga during his retirement, and I came to admire his graciousness and his thoughtfulness and his willingness to go beyond the normal hurly-burly of partisan thinking and to display to me, a younger person, the true indelible national spirit which had caused him to dedicate his life for the causes that he saw would uplift the Jamaican people.
Trinidad and Tobago's central bank governor, Dr. Alvin Hilaire, has estimated that it will cost the state around $620 million TT a year to support Venezuelans who have migrated to the country. But he says having these migrants in the Twin Island Republic could have economic benefits in the long run. We get more from CNC3's Akash Samaru.
Over $600 million TT a year. That's what the central bank estimates it will cost the state given the mass migration of Venezuelans to this country.
Initially, I doubted them. I said, no, this can't be.
But the central bank governor said on closer inspection, the figure made more sense. He said in Colombia, the migration there is costing the state 0.4% of its GDP. Now, bear in mind, Colombia has received almost the population of Trinidad and Tobago into the country. They've had to seek financial aid from the World Bank, receiving near $31.5 million US. Dr. Hilaire thinks we too may have to look at that option.
There has been set up in the Inter-American Development Bank a facility for about $100 million US. We should be able to access part of that.
The governor said several sectors will be impacted.
The labor market, surely, the housing market, social services, and then you have a number of other things, the national insurance, your health, your security.
But he does believe it will benefit this country's economy.
And they bring something with them. What do they bring? They bring their skills, they bring their approach to things, they could affect the labor market and so forth. So there could be potentially very large benefits over time. Taxation, they would contribute to taxes and so forth.
While local economist Indira Sajwan agrees with the central bank governor that there are two sides to the impact of the Venezuelan influx. And although complaints about the negatives have been widely discussed, she told CNC3's Morning Brew program on a Wednesday morning, there can also be benefits.
The overall impact, whether it is positive or negative, has in large part to do with how Trinidad and Tobago, how we organize ourselves in terms of receiving Venezuelans into Trinidad and how we organize ourselves in order to use the skills set that they bring and to mitigate the negative impacts that could possibly come. So that, I mean, we are to some extent putting we are trying to deal with it after the horse has bolted, so to speak, because, I mean, we're talking about possibly 40,000 people or even more already in the country. We're hearing things about, in terms of the negative impacts, we're hearing things about criminal activity, about guns, you know, some of the negative things, which we are now trying to deal with post facto. So the extent to which we have the readiness to deal with that will determine how we mitigate the negatives.
Still in Trinidad and Tobago, former government minister Devant Maharaj has called for answers following a police raid at his home on Tuesday. In a statement issued on a Wednesday, Maharaj, a member of the main opposition United National Congress, said lawmen raided his home and served a warrant to obtain his mobile phone as part of ongoing investigations into the bomb threat at a school last week. But he said he did not understand the reason for the warrant as he was interviewed by officers on Saturday regarding his social media post that publicized a photo of the email of the bomb threat. Maharaj said during that interview with police, he indicated he was a social media journalist who got information from the public regularly to highlight the abuse of government authority, and as such, he could not divulge the identity of his source who wished to remain anonymous. But Maharaj said that in all other matters regarding the incident, he cooperated fully with police. Still to come in Caribbean Newsline, Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister in high-level talks with Suriname's President. Stay with us.
Welcome to this year's 50th Caribbean Broadcast Union Assembly on the island of San Andres. San Andres is a small archipelago located in between Jamaica and Panama in the Western Caribbean Sea. A lush, exotic island rich in culture, history, gastronomy, and breathtaking scenic views. Known for its beaches and 7-colored crystalline waters, the island of San Andres will be proudly hosting this year's event. CBU members will enjoy top-of-the-line accommodations for an unforgettable experience in San Andres, connecting Caribbean nations through this year's 50th edition of the CBU Assembly.
Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown is on a 3-day official visit to Suriname for high-level talks with host President Desi Bouterse. Brown arrived in Paramaribo on Tuesday, and he addressed the issues of impediments to increasing intra-regional trade.
Several impediments. We know about the phytosanitary problems, and today we committed ourselves both myself and your president, to address those issues certainly at a bilateral level and subsequently at a regional level. And the other area, the other impediment is the issue of transportation. In fact, transportation has been a perennial problem in moving goods within the region for decades. And I know that we have spoken extensively about this issue, but unfortunately we have not made much progress. But I believe that this visit will help to serve as a catalyst for a renewed push to resolve our transportational problems within the region, to move goods within the region, and even to move people. Because at the end of the day, we need to have stronger people-to-people exchanges, and for sure, to make sure that we have the transportational link so that we can move goods among the islands.
The Antiguan leader also invited Surinamese businessmen to explore the possibility of involvement in emerging sectors in his twin island nation.
We're now seeking to diversify our country's economy from an almost totally dependent industry, be almost totally dependent on tourism, and to establish a vibrant marijuana industry, as well as, in fact, we have gone as far as legalizing marijuana for medicinal use. And we have attracted a number of international companies already that are about to set up shop in Antigua and Barbuda to exploit the medicinal marijuana space. We also have at least 2 stem cell facilities been established on Antigua. So what we're doing in essence is that we are creating a space for technology to flourish, while at the same time providing some form of economic diversification.
This week in Newsline Business, Trinidad and Tobago strikes a new energy agreement with Shell, Cuba legalizes private Wi-Fi networks, and tourism officials in the Bahamas say a planned strike by hotel workers would be a setback for the economy. We get the details from CMC's Marie-Claire Williams.
Trinidad and Tobago has signed a new energy agreement with Shell at the energy company's headquarters in The Hague. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley joined the Chief Executive Officer of Royal Dutch Shell on Wednesday for the signing. It is seen as a significant milestone for Trinidad and Tobago as it features an enhanced revenue package for the sale of liquefied natural gas. The Cuban government is moving to legalize private Wi-Fi networks and the importation of equipment. The development was announced by state media on Wednesday, and it grants legal status to thousands of Cubans who created homemade digital networks with smuggled equipment. Tourism officials in the Bahamas are hoping that a planned strike by workers in the hotel industry can be averted. The Bahamas Catering and Allied Workers Union recently burned a proposal from the Bahamas Hotel and Restaurant Employers Association, which included, among other things, gratuity being rescinded. The union is due to hold a strike vote on Thursday. Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar says industrial action would deal a serious blow to the economy.
A strike at this time in the hotel industry would be devastating. 55% of our economy is based on tourism. Taxi drivers, straw vendors, hotel workers, restaurant workers, many tens of thousands of Bahamians rely on the tourism industry for their livelihood. With the coming on stream of Bahama and with the growth in the other hotels, 5,000 to 6,000 additional workers have entered into the tourism market and are benefiting directly from the tourism market.
Marie-Claire Williams, Newsline Business.
Ahead in Newsline Sport, the West Indies skipper urges his side to play fearless cricket in the upcoming World Cup. We'll be right back.
So the onion and garlic and the curry leaves have been cooking for about 2 minutes now. Now I'm going to throw in my curry and my spices. So now it's time to add your chicken. And when you add your chicken, you gotta stir it really well for that curry to coat the outside of the chicken. So you see how nice it looks?
Welcome to this year's 50th Caribbean Broadcast Union Assembly on the island of San Andres. San Andres is a small archipelago located in between Jamaica and Panama in the western Caribbean Sea. A lush, exotic island rich in culture, history, gastronomy, and breathtaking scenic views. Known for its beaches and 7-colored crystalline waters, the island of San Andres will be proudly hosting this year's event. CBU members will enjoy top-of-the-line accommodations for an unforgettable experience in San Andres, connecting Caribbean nations through this year's 50th edition of the CBU Assembly.
So what advice would you give someone up and coming who's trying to break their way or make their way within the industry?
Well, I mean, it is a competitive industry, as any industry, but the best advice I can give is try to be original. One, definitely want to be original, and keep it personal also, you know what I'm saying? Like, it should reflect you, and the brand itself should reflect who you are and what you believe in. That way, what you're expressing, you're pretty much expressing yourself.
West Indies captain Jason Holder has urged his side to play fearless cricket during the ICC World Cup that starts on Thursday after watching them pile up a mammoth total against New Zealand in their final official warm-up match on Tuesday. The Caribbean side marched to an imposing 421 thanks to Shea Hope's 101 and half-centuries from Andre Russell and Evan Lewis. Their innings laid the foundation for a comfortable 91-run victory at Bristol County Ground.
I've got little to no expectation for the group, and I think that's the method that we want to approach it. Little to no expectation, and we just go out there and play fearless, enjoyable cricket. I think one of the things that's hampered us sometimes in the past is we haven't really enjoyed it to the extent that I think we should be. It's our livelihood, it's our job. We've put so many smiles on people's faces back home in the Caribbean. And for me, I just want to continue to do that. And I think we are at our best, when we play with freedom and when we play with a smile on our face.
West Indies displayed the form that has made the squad one of the quietly fair teams participating in the May 30th to July 14th showpiece. Holder slammed 47 from 32 balls in an important 82-run 7th wicket stand with Russell, while veteran Chris Gale belted a whirlwind 36 from 22 deliveries in a 59-run opening stand with Lewis. And the captain was pleased with the team's performance.
Yeah, it's still a dilemma that we're faced with. It's a good position to be in, to be honest. Everybody's firing. I just saw today the batters really stepped up today and played really nicely. And I thought the bowlers were outstanding as well. To defend on such a good wicket, small outfield, it could be difficult. We went both sides of the park last time in the game against South Africa. That didn't finish with rain. And it was good to see the bowlers come back and actually tighten up and showed a lot more discipline. I thought we stuck to the plans that we set out and we executed really well. But yeah, it's a good dilemma to be in. Not quite sure where we're at in terms of the final 11, but hopefully in the coming days we'll select a really good team.
Well, all-rounder Carlos Brathwaite has hailed the execution of the West Indies batsmen following their exhilarating display in the warm-up against New Zealand, but he has cautioned against inflating expectations of the Caribbean side ahead of the World Cup. The near-effortless approach to their batting raised speculation over the Windies eclipsing the 500-run mark soon, and Brathwaite said while this was possible based on the powerful batting lineup, Tuesday's performance needed to be put in perspective. On Tuesday, the Barbadian said, quote, "If you are asking me if we are capable of it, definitely we are. However, in a real game, you probably won't have the depth in batting at 10 and 11 that we had today. So you need to be a little real about the target. But what I will say is the intent and the execution from batsman to batsman, situation to situation, believe it or not, there were some times when we consolidated. So that was beautiful, just to play what was probably the perfect batting innings as a team." End quote. Barbadian opening batsman Hayley Matthews smashed her second T20 international ton to help Windies women beat Ireland in the final match by 72 runs and take the series 3-0. She scored an unbeaten 107 from 62 deliveries as the visitors raced to 188 for the loss of 1 wicket. Shadeen Nation also played an instrumental role at the crease with her unbeaten 63 from 43 balls. Batsman Mary Waldron's knock of 55 and 45 from Kim Garth weren't enough for the Irish to make a serious chase as they ended 116 for 3 in their allotted 20 overs. Windies captain Stephanie Taylor was the pick of the bowling with figures of 2 for 19. To football now, Trinidad and Tobago's senior squad will leave for the Gold Cup this weekend without the services of 2 of its seasoned players. In this report from TV6's Sergio Dufour, disappointed head coach Dennis Lawrence explains why.
No Sheldon Bato or Attila Guerra for TNT in the 2019 Gold Cup tournament. It's just part of the headache for coach of the national team, Dennis Lawrence, who says that they are also plagued with visa issues with some players as they look to take on Japan in a friendly on June 5th.
I can confirm that Sheldon Bato would not be available for selection for the Gold Cup for personal reasons in regards to commitments he had with his club. So we had a long discussion about it, and in the end we had to make a decision because we couldn't leave anyone hanging. Also, we know that Attila Guerra is not going to be available for selection for the Gold Cup squad for issues that are beyond our control.
Lawrence says that their absence has left a void in the team, which he is hoping the other players can fill. However, he is especially concerned about TNT's attacking force.
I still think we are a bit short in what we're trying to do in attack. We're trying to rectify the problem. But all in all, the boys are in good spirit. We have the Japan, we leave on Friday for Japan.
In addition to Bato and Guerra being ruled out, defender Aubrey David is also having visa issues. It raises the question, will TNT field a quality team against Japan, and is the contest worth the travel?
We're going to use the trip as best as possible to try and work on something for our first game on the 18th. That's the most important thing. Some of the issues that we had in terms of people like Marcus Joseph, etc., not having a US visa at the moment didn't help because it was an opportunity for them to go to Japan to be able to push for a claim in the Gold Cup squad.
And that's the sport. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Coming up, Central America with a Caribbean twist. Welcome to Belize. It's a tasty tour with some satisfying stops in Barbados. The excitement of Caribbean Week New York with touches of art and music. It's all next, right here on Caribbean Passport on this station.
So originally when I came here as an undergraduate actually at Georgetown, originally, well, I was afforded this opportunity because I got a track and field scholarship. And so when I started Georgetown, the idea was to graduate and then go back home. You know, being home with family, as you're saying, patriotism is a huge aspect of Jamaican culture, and that's definitely one thing that I wanted to keep.
Again, the major developments of this day, the Tax Justice Network names the BVI, Bermuda and the Cayman Islands as the world's most corrosive corporate tax havens. And in sport, West Indies skipper Jason Holder urges his side to play fearless cricket in the World Cup starting Thursday. And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport round the clock, subscribe to CanonNews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and good night.